therefore unclear why, having formally accepted the accommodation offer, it has now been withdrawn at the last moment. Prince Harry touched down here in London alone, wife Meghan and the kids staying away for now.
He was offered a room in Buckingham Palace and somehow still ended up alone in a hotel. Not because the palace refused him, but because he waited too long. And now the question isn't what happened, it's why. King Charles offered his son a room in Buckingham Palace, his own home, the same palace where he grew up, where he learned to ride a bike in the gardens, where he watched his mother leave for the last time. Charles said, "Come, stay here, bring your family, we'll make it work." That wasn't just an invitation. That was history reopening its doors. A father, aging, sick, still holding on to something fragile, offering not just space, but reconciliation. And yet, what came back?
Team saying about 24 hours ago that he'd accepted an offer to do so.
Well, palace officials say Prince Harry initially declined the invitation and later changed his mind after the deadline had passed, leaving him too little notice to make arrangements.
Nothing, not a yes, not a no, just silence. And silence, in royal circles, is never empty. It's loud, suspiciously loud. And Harry said nothing for days. No reply, no confirmation, no phone call, just silence from California while palace staff waited, while rooms sat empty, while a 77-year-old man with cancer held a door open that nobody walked through. Days passed, staff waited, protocols paused.
I mean, he has lost his marbles, hasn't he? I mean, he's gone completely crazy. He's never going to get this security, these armed cop guards he demands whenever he comes to Britain. He's never going to get it.
A palace, one of the most controlled environments on Earth, left hanging in uncertainty. Why? What was happening behind the scenes? Was this hesitation or calculation? And then, suddenly, movement. But not the kind that fixes things, the kind that complicates everything.
It's only, 3 days into the week, and already it has turned into probably one of Harry's worst weeks in 30 years.
Why have you done this to yourself? You were popular, you were beloved, and you smashed it all to pieces.
And then, at the last possible moment, Harry's team called, "We'll take the room." Just Harry, not Meghan, not the children, just Harry. And the palace said, "It's too late, too late." Two simple words. But inside Buckingham Palace, those words carry weight, finality, closure, and maybe frustration. Because this wasn't a casual invitation, this wasn't a spare bedroom, this was a fully orchestrated royal arrangement, timed, staffed, secured. And the one person who knew exactly how that system worked, missed it. Now, I want you to understand what too late means in this context.
This is a couple in Harry and Meghan that have squandered a wonderful opportunity to rehabilitate their public image and to recalibrate their royal credentials. They had it all going for them, Rupert.
This is Buckingham Palace. They don't just open a room and leave a key under the mat. There's staffing, there's security sweep, there's protocol, there's a process. And Harry, who grew up inside that process, knew exactly how long it takes. So here's the contradiction. Harry knew the rules. Harry understood the timing. Harry lived this life. So why break the pattern now? Why respond after the window closed? He knew the deadline. He knew what end of last week meant, and he still didn't reply in time. The question isn't whether the palace withdrew the offer. They did. The question is, why did Harry wait? That's where the story fractures. Because what followed wasn't quiet acceptance. It was pushback, a statement, a narrative shift. Sources say the family initially turned the offer down on Saturday, turned it down. A room in Buckingham Palace offered by his own father, turned down. Then changed their mind 2 days later when it was already too late, turned down. Then reversed. Then rejected. A sequence that doesn't just confuse it, raises eyebrows. Because this isn't indecision, this feels like a pattern. And here's where it gets interesting, because Harry's team didn't just accept the rejection quietly. They issued a statement, a pointed one. They said, "We formally accepted the offer." They said, "We don't understand why it was withdrawn." They said, "Buckingham Palace has been aware of the relevant details since last Thursday." Two versions of the same moment. Palace says delay. Harry says acceptance. Both can't be true. And when narratives collide like this, it's not just miscommunication, it's something deeper. A fracture that's been growing, quietly, for years. So now we have two stories. Palace says Harry didn't reply in time. Harry says we accepted and were rejected. One of them is not telling the truth, and the one who has spent the last 5 years writing books about the palace, doing Netflix documentaries about the palace, going on Oprah about the palace, is asking us to believe the palace is lying again. And then comes the image that says more than any statement ever could. Not a palace arrival, not a royal reunion, just a quiet check-in, a hotel, in London. Alone, same city, different worlds. The moment that was supposed to reset everything collapsed into something smaller, colder, controlled, and maybe irreversible. A king in a palace, a son in a hotel. Same bloodline, but no longer the same reality. And the silence between those walls? It's louder than any argument that's ever been spoken. Because this wasn't just about a missed room. This was about a reunion that never happened. A moment that collapsed before it even began. And now, every detail starts to feel like a clue pointing to something deeper. Something far more calculated. Harry arrived in London, but not where everyone expected. Not through palace gates. Not into royal corridors. Instead, a quiet hotel check-in. No ceremony, no welcome, just distance. Intentional or forced? That's the question nobody can quite answer. Meanwhile, the pieces surrounding Harry remained scattered. Meghan in California. Archie in California. Lilibet in California. A family separated not by geography alone, but by decisions. And those decisions are starting to look less accidental and more strategic. The trip that was supposed to bring everyone together, the long-awaited reunion, the emotional reset. The moment Charles could finally see his grandchildren turned into something else entirely. A delay, a split, a silence that stretched too far. And now, even the possibility of a meeting feels different. Because sources don't describe warmth. They don't describe reconciliation. They describe rules, conditions, boundaries, almost like a negotiation instead of a reunion. And that changes everything. There are whispers that if a meeting happens, it won't be private. Not really. There will be eyes, staff nearby. Conversations monitored, not because it's polite, but because it's necessary. Because trust isn't just broken, it's being managed. And think about that for a second. A father and son in the same room with an exit strategy already in place. Conversations that can be cut short. Witnesses lingering under the excuse of service. That's not healing, that's containment. Which raises an uncomfortable question. What exactly is everyone expecting to happen behind those closed doors? Because on one side, there's Charles, a king who has seen decades of crisis, scandal, and recovery. A man who understands patterns. And from where he stands, the pattern is impossible to ignore. Every visit comes with timing. Every conversation comes with consequences. Every appearance comes with a narrative waiting to be shaped. And this time, something shifted. This time, Charles didn't say no to Harry. He said no to the conditions, no to the last-minute change, no to the cycle repeating itself again. And when that boundary was drawn, it didn't just close a door. It sent a message. A message that echoes louder when you consider one detail almost everyone overlooked. The children. Because behind everything, the delays, the statements, the missed deadline, there's one absence that keeps surfacing. Archie, Lilibet, the grandchildren Charles hasn't seen in years. The very reason this visit mattered so much in the first place. And yet, they didn't come. Why? Security? Timing? Or something else entirely? Because here's where the narrative starts to fracture again. The same explanation that has been used for years resurfaces. The same unresolved issue. The same reason for distance. And yet, despite legal battles, despite wins, despite everything, nothing changes. No reunion, no palace stay, no moment of connection, just Harry, alone, in a hotel room. In a city that used to feel like home. And maybe that's the real story here. Not the court victories, not the public statements, not even the rejected room, but the pattern. Offer, delay, shift, missed moment. Over and over again. Until eventually, the door doesn't stay open forever. Charles waited, longer than most would, longer than many expected, but even patience has a limit. Even forgiveness has a breaking point. And somewhere between the silence and the last-minute call, that point was reached. The door was open, the invitation was real, the moment was there, and somehow, it slipped. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, closing. And now the question isn't whether it can reopen, it's whether anyone is still standing on the other side, willing to try.